البرنامج التالي تقرير اللجنة من سماحة الأستاذ الدكتور جي.M. مسلمين الماجستير فعليه أن يتفضل مشكورا ومأجورا.
Following the committee report, which shall be delivered by Prof. J.M. Muslimin, M.A. UIN Jakarta.
Laporan panitia yang dalam hal ini akan disampaikan oleh Profesor Dr. J.M. Muslimin M.A.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah wa syukurillah salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi mawala. Vice Rector of UIN Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta, Din Wahid PhD, Vice Rector of IAIN Manado, Ibu Dr. Salma, our director, the Director of School for Graduate Studies, UIN Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta, Professor Dr. Zulkifli, the Director of School for Graduate Studies, IAIN Manado, Bapak Abdullah Otta, Yusno Abdullah Otta, PhD, and all of the audience, speakers, presenters, and participants of this seminar. I just want to take a few minutes to inform about the technical things of our conference. At first, this conference is followed to be participants from all over Indonesia and outside Indonesia, more than 56 participants. Then, after selection and review of some papers, it decreased to 285, and after the next selection and review, it decreased to more or less 256 participants. So this conference will be held hybrid, online and offline, and the complete schedule of this seminar or this conference can be accessed and can be distributed, or you have an access to print out the agenda of conference in this meeting hall, and outside, of course, we have special website to be accessed. The second, from the speakers, I have to say thank you very much, and I want to call one by one all of our honored speaker. The first of all is Professor Ismail Latif Hasinen Bioglu from Istanbul University. Please stand up at your place. Silakan berdiri, Prof. Ismail. Thank you very much for your coming. Yeah. And the second is Dr. Patrick Zickenhain from Freiburg University, Germany. Please stand up. Thank you very much. And the third is Dr. Salim Ahmed Al-Kushli from Jamiah Libya University. Thank you very much. Yeah. And the young researcher comes from Japan. It is from Kyoto University. His name, it will be difficult. This is Natsuki Hashinosu. Yeah? Sorry for mistaken. Yeah? Okay. Indeed, your coming motivates us very much. And of course, you will be here for offline seminar. And we have also distributed your names as far as we have. More than 500 will follow this seminar by online means or by online methods. And the last but not least, thank you very much, of course, especially for our Vice Rector, Din Wahid, PhD, and also our Rector, Professor Asep Saifuddin Jahar, as well as our Director, Professor Dr. Zulkifli, and the team. I want to mention one by one, of course, the first, this is our advisor, Professor Dr. Zulkifli, the Director of Sekolah Pasca Sarjana. Please stand up, yeah. This is our director, yes. And the second is the Vice Director, Professor Yusuf Rahman. Yusuf Rahman, here is it, yeah, Professor Yusuf Rahman. And there is a 24 hours task force. this 24 hours task force head by Dr. Maswani. Is there Dr. Maswani? Silakan berdiri, Dr. Maswani. Okay. Kisno Umbaran. Please stand up, Kisno Umbaran. Okay, thank you very much. And the next is Nuryaman. Yeah, Nuryaman. Yeah, please stand up, Nuryaman. Okay. And of course, our beloved Prodi, program studi for Magister, Dr. Dani Hamdani. Stand up please, Dr. Dani Hamdani and Rizky Handayani. Dr. Rizky Handayani. Okay. Thank you for your technical support. 24 hours you are here. 24 hours you are in Ciputat. It is 24 hours times maybe 2 months or 3 months. Yeah. So every day you update the participation, and every day you have answered all questions, all comments regarding our seminar. Thank you very much for your support, and I hope that this seminar will be open formally. I think from our Vice Rector and also the Director, both from UIN Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta and IAIN Manado. And last but not least, of course, we beg your pardon for every lateness of our organizing committee and steering committee. Please do not hesitate to contact us when you have any questions, when you have any comment, and you have any expectation from our seminar. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Kepada Bapak kami ucapkan terima kasih.
البرنامج التالي التوجيهات والإرشادات الأول من مدير الدراسات العليا الجامعة الإسلامية الحكومية منادو سماحة الأستاذ الدكتور يسنو عبد الله أوتا الماجستير فعليه أن يتفضل مشكورا ومأجورا.
Dear honorable guests, let us now move forward to the welcoming speech by Dr. Yusno Abdullah Otta, MAG, IAIN Manado.
Hadirin yang terhormat, marilah kita mendengarkan sambutan dari Direktur Pasca Sarjana Institut Agama Islam Negeri IAIN Manado, Dr. Yusno Abdullah Otta, MAG.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahil alamin wa bihi nasta'inu ala umuri dunya waddin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi jama'in amma ba'd. I would like to express my speech in 2 languages, Bahasa and English. In English I will read the paper was written by Mr. Chairman, Profesor JM Muslimin. Yang terhormat, Rektor UIN Syarif Hidayatullah yang diwakili oleh Warek 4, Pak Dr. yang tadi dijemput, Ibu Warek 2 IAIN Manado yang mewakili Pak Rektor, Bu Dr. Salma. Yang terhormat juga ada Wakil Rektor 1 IAIN Manado, Dr. Edi Gunawan MHI, dan Pak Direktur Sekolah Pasca Sarjana UIN Syarif Hidayatullah, Profesor Zulkifli, serta Wakil Direktur Sekolah Pasca Sarjana Profesor Yusuf Rahman, dan seluruh Ketua Panitia Profesor JM Muslimin, para Kaprodi, para pejabat yang ada di lingkungan Sekolah Pasca Sarjana UIN Syarif Hidayatullah, yang tanpa mengurangi rasa hormat saya untuk menyampaikan rasa takzim kepada semuanya, serta seluruh panitia baik yang ada di Sekolah Pasca Sarjana maupun dari IAIN Manado. Yang tidak kalah terhormat, seluruh keynote speaker dan para pembicara pemateri yang akan meramaikan atau mendalami berbagai wacana dalam seminar ini. Esteemed guests, distinguished speakers, respected scholars and value participants, with immense pleasure and pride, I extend a warm welcome to all of you at the 7th International Colloquium on Interdisciplinary Islamic Studies 2024, hosted here at the Sintesa Peninsula Hotel in the vibrant city of Manado, Indonesia. This year's theme, Rethinking Interdisciplinary Islamic Studies for Sustainable Development in Digital Age, is timely and essential as we navigate the complex interplay between Islamic studies and modern global challenges. As the director of graduate program at Manado State Institute on Islamic Studies, I am deeply honored to host this prestigious event, which brings together scholars and experts worldwide to engage in meaningful dialogue and exploration. This colloquium is testament to our commitment to advancing knowledge and fostering academic collaboration on a global scale. I want to express my profound gratitude to our esteemed keynote and panel speakers who have graciously joined us to share their expertise and insight. Professor Asep Saifuddin Jahar, MA PhD, Rector of State Islamic University, Syarif Hidayatullah, Jakarta, whose leadership in Islamic studies and commitment to educational excellence continue to inspire us all. And Professor Dr. Ahmad Rajafi, Master of Law, Rector of ICIIS Manado, whose dedication to advancing Islamic higher education and research is truly commendable. And Professor Dr. James Hostery from Emory University, USA, whose pioneering research in contemporary Islamic studies offers invaluable perspective on interaction between tradition and modernity. And also to the panel speakers, Professor Dr. Arndt Graf from Goethe-Universität, Frankfurt, a main institute for Ostasiatische Philologie. This is very difficult to pronounce, whose knowledge in East Asian philology enriches our understanding of cultural changes. And Professor Dr. Mikihiro Moriyama from Nanzan University, Japan, whose work on Japanese Islamic interaction provides critical insights into comparative studies. And Professor Ismail Latif Hasinoglu from Istanbul University, Turkey, known for his expertise in Islamic jurisprudence and comparative studies. And also Dr. Phil Patrick Ziagenhain, President of the University of Freiburg, Germany, whose European perspective on Islamic studies adds depth to our interdisciplinary discussion. And last but not least, Dr. Salim El-Khosli from Tripoli University, Libya, whose work on Islamic economic is essential for understanding sustainable development within an Islamic framework. Their contribution will undoubtedly enrich our discussion and drive forward our understanding of interdisciplinary Islamic studies in the digital age. I also extend my heartfelt thanks to the organizing committee for their exceptional efforts in making this event possible. As we embark on this colloquium, let's engage deeply with the diverse topics and perspectives presented, challenge our preconception, and work collaboratively toward innovative solutions. May our time together be productive, inspiring, and transformative. Thank you for all your participants, and I look forward to engaging discussion for fruitful exchange line ahead. Thank you very much, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Kepada Bapak kami ucapkan terima kasih.
التوجيهات والإرشادات الثاني من المدير الرئاسة العليا الجامعة الإسلامية الحكومية جاكرتا من السماحة الأستاذ الدكتور zulkifli الماجستير فعليه أن يتفضل مشكورا ومأجورا.
Next, the opening speech by Professor Dr. Zulkifli MA, the Director of Pasca Sarjana UIN.
Selanjutnya sambutan dari Direktur Pasca Sarjana Universitas Islam Negeri Jakarta, Profesor Dr. Zulkifli MA.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wa bihi nasta'in ala umurid waddin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil mursalin sayyidina Muhammadin wa sahbihi ajmain wa ba'du. The Honorable Vice Rector of UIN Jakarta, Dr. Din Wahid, Vice Rector of IAIN Manado for Academic Affairs and for Administrative Affairs. Guests, speakers, and honorable participants. It's a great honor and a profound pleasure to welcome you to the 7th International Colloquium on Interdisciplinary Islamic Studies 2024, hosted at this hotel. Our theme this year is Rethinking Interdisciplinary Islamic Studies for Sustainable Development in the Digital Age. Offers us a unique opportunity to explore and innovate the crossroads of Islamic studies in global challenges. We are delighted to be hosted by the great school of IAIN Manado, whose commitment and dedication have brought this esteemed colloquium for fruitful advantage. A heartfelt thanks to the team of IAIN Manado for their tireless efforts to organize this event and provide us with a wonderful venue for our discussions for these few days. We are also privileged to be joined by an exceptional lineup of keynote and panel speakers, each of whom brings a wealth of knowledge and diverse perspectives to our discussion. I want to extend our deepest gratitude to and warmest welcome to you all at this occasion. For keynote speakers who came offline or presented their paper through online, and panel speakers, as mentioned and is written in our flyer, as you see in the front, thank you very much for your participation and your contribution to this, the 7th International Colloquium this year. Your participation underscores the international scope and significance of our colloquium. We are excited to engage in the cutting-edge research and to explore how interdisciplinary approaches can address the pressing issues of our time, particularly in the context of sustainable development and the digital transformation. That's what we call interdisciplinary perspective in seeing and solving our today's problems. As we embark on this 4 days journey, let us take the opportunity to engage deeply with the topics at hand, challenge our preconceptions, and collaborate across disciplines. May our discussion foster new ideas, promote new understanding, and lead the actionable solutions that reflect our commitment to both scholarly excellence and societal impact. Again, we are grateful to you all, and we are very thankful to especially the director of graduate program of IAIN Manado and your team, of course. Thank you very much and enjoy your discussion. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Kepada Bapak kami ucapkan terima kasih. Selanjutnya, welcoming speech dari Rektor Institut Agama Islam Negeri IAIN Manado yang akan diwakili oleh Wakil Rektor 2, Dr. Haja Salma MHI.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hamdan wa syukranillah, salatan wa salaman ala rasulillah. Asyhadu an la ilaha illallah wa asyhadu anna muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu la nabiyya ba'dah, amma ba'du. Yang terhormat Bapak Profesor Dr. Zulkifli MA, Bapak Direktur Pasca Sarjana UIN Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta, yang terhormat Bapak Profesor Asep Saifuddin Jahar MA PhD selaku Rektor yang diwakili dalam hal ini oleh Bapak Wakil Rektor 4, Bapak Dr. Din Wahid MA PhD, Bapak Direktur Pasca Sarjana UIN Syarif Hidayatullah, Bapak Direktur Pasca Sarjana IAIN Manado, Bapak Dr. Yusuf Abdullah Ota MAG, Bapak Wakil Rektor 1 IAIN Manado, Dr. Edi Gunawan MHI, Bapak Profesor Dr. JM Muslimin MA selaku Ketua Panitia. Kita berikan tepuk tangan yang meriah. Ya. Komando dan yang sangat luar biasa dalam hal ini dua perguruan tinggi yang bekerja sama kolaborasi untuk melaksanakan kegiatan ini. Yang saya hormati keynote speech Profesor Dr. James B. History dari Moriyama USA dan para panel speaker dari berbagai negara, Bapak Profesor Dr. Arndt Graf dari Frankfurt, kemudian Profesor Dr. Mikihiro Moriyama dari Jepang, dan Profesor Ismail Latif, alhamdulillah, salam silaturahim. Ya, baru kali ini ke Manado mungkin, Sulawesi Utara. Bapak Dr. Salim, assalamualaikum, Pak Dr. Salim dari Libya, alhamdulillah. Seluruh dosen yang hadir pada kesempatan sore hari ini, dan seluruh sivitas akademika yang hadir, baik dari UIN Syarif Hidayatullah. Saya dengar informasi tadi bahwa seluruh perangkat pasca sarjana UIN sejumlah 23 orang kalau tidak salah. Alhamdulillah hadir semua, ini sangat luar biasa sekali di bawah komando Bapak Ketua Panitia tentunya, dan di bawah komando Bapak Direktur Pasca Sarjana UIN Syarif Hidayatullah. Terima kasih telah memilih IAIN Manado berkolaborasi dalam kegiatan ini. Kami sangat bangga, dan insya Allah bukan kali ini saja Pak Prof, insya Allah kali yang akan datang kami tetap membuka pintu kerjasama, membuka hati. Allah kami siap untuk melaksanakan kegiatan ini. Pertama-tama yang ingin saya sampaikan permohonan maaf yang sebesarnya dari Bapak Rektor IAIN Manado, Bapak Profesor Dr. Ahmad Rajapi MHI. Beliau udah 2 minggu ini meninggalkan kampus ke Yordania dan rangka branchmaking, kemudian lanjut untuk melaksanakan umrah beserta teman-teman. Dan alhamdulillah beliau sudah tiba di Jakarta hari ini, lanjut lagi dengan tugas kedinasan yang tidak bisa beliau tinggalkan. Salam takzim dari Bapak Profesor Dr. Ahmad Rajapi karena beliau tidak sempat bersama-sama di dalam kegiatan ini, dan insya Allah mudah-mudahan beliau pada kesempatan yang akan datang bisa bersama dengan Bapak-bapak dan ibu-ibu sekalian. Para undangan dan peserta internasional Colloquium Interdisciplinary Islamic Studies yang saya berbahagia. Tentunya tak lupa pula kita kirimkan salawat atas junjungan Nabi besar Muhammad SAW yang telah mengeluarkan kita dari alam kegelapan menuju alam terang benderang. Dan salah satu bukti nyata bahwa dengan diutusnya Rasulullah SAW ke atas dunia ini, dan 2 hari yang lalu kita peringati hari Maulid, hari kelahiran beliau yang telah membawa suri tauladan yang baik untuk kita semua dan membuka pintu-pintu ilmu pengetahuan. Nah, salah satu hal yang ingin saya sampaikan kepada seluruh panitia, selamat datang tentunya di Kota Manado, Kota Nyur Melambai. Insya Allah mudah-mudahan Kota Nyur Melambai ini bisa menyenangkan. Ya, ada beberapa yang sudah datang sehari sebelum pelaksanaan kegiatan ini, sudah jalan-jalan. Tadi saya sampaikan kalau Manado itu kotanya kecil, beda dengan Jakarta yang sudah sangat luas, kemudian sudah sangat padat. Tetapi alhamdulillah katanya tidak juga kecil, tapi alhamdulillah ini sangat-sangat menyenangkan. Insya Allah nanti ada teman-teman dari sini sebagai sohibul bait yang berkenan untuk bisa ajak jalan-jalan begitu ya, dengan sukarela aja ini, sukarela. Ya, terima kasih. Kolaborasi Sekolah Pasca Sarjana UIN Syarif Hidayatullah dengan IAIN Manado Pasca Sarjana tentunya dalam hal ini, insya Allah mudah-mudahan budaya akademik seperti ini kita tetap kembangkan, kita tingkatkan di masa-masa yang akan datang. Dengan mengingat adanya budaya akademik seperti ini, kolaborasi seperti ini, kerjasama seperti ini, insya Allah itu akan menambah dan akan mengangkat dan meningkatkan kepentingan dalam rangka akreditasi borang program studi dan borang institut atau lembaga IAIN Manado ke depan. Alhamdulillah baru-baru ini IAIN Manado mendapat akreditasi unggul. Ini berkat kerjasama dari berbagai pihak, tentunya tidak lepas dari doa-doa dari yang telah disampaikan oleh bapak-bapak dan ibu-ibu sekalian. Terima kasih, dan ini menjadi awal IAIN Manado insya Allah akan mempertahankan nilai akreditasi ini dan insya Allah bahkan akan bisa ditingkatkan di kemudian hari. Terima kasih, ini saja yang bisa saya sampaikan. Mungkin satu-satunya yang berdiri di podium ini yang bahasa Indonesia saya. Ya, alhamdulillah yang lain lancar bahasa Inggrisnya. Alhamdulillah, insya Allah kita belajar dengan kegiatan seperti ini membuka hati dan pikiran supaya kita bisa menguasai bahasa internasional. Ya, ada almarhumah yang sudah meninggal, salah satu pendiri IAIN Manado, katanya ini apa baku sedu bahasa orang Manado, apa ya bahasa Indonesianya, bercanda Pak. Ya, kata beliau begini, bahasa Inggris itu tulisannya beda dengan bacaannya. Katanya ini membuka peluang supaya kita memang betul-betul harus belajar. Ya, demikian. Mohon maaf atas segala kekurangan. Mungkin ada kekurangan mulai dari penjemputan tadi di bandara, kemudian sampai di hotel di sini. Kami atas nama pimpinan mohon maaf yang sebesar-besarnya atas segala kekurangan ini. Demikian, dan saya akhiri, wabillahi taufik wal hidayah. Nun wal qalami wa ma yasrun. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Kepada Ibu kami ucapkan terima kasih. Selanjutnya welcome speech dari Rektor Universitas Islam Negeri Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta yang diwakili oleh Wakil Rektor 4 Bapak Din Walid PhD.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, Honorable Rector of State Institute for Islamic Studies of Manado, represented by Bapak Wakil Rektor Bidang Akademik, Bapak Edi Gunawan, dan Ibu Wakil Rektor Bidang Administrasi Umum, Ibu Salma, Directors of Graduate Schools of UIN Jakarta and IAIN Manado, Professor Zulkifli, my colleagues, and also my colleagues. I just met him this morning, Pak Yusno. We were in the same boarding school in East Java, but I just met him today. Distinguished speakers, my colleagues, Professor JM Muslimin, and I have to mention my colleagues, Professor Kusmana, Professor Yusuf Rahman, and of course, my neighbor actually, Pak Fuad Jabali. I didn't realize, I didn't know that he will come here, and I just met him here this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, I am here substituting my rector, Professor Asep Saifuddin Jahar. Big apologies and warm regards from him for his unavailability to be present here with us. Actually, I was assigned to give keynote speech, but I just know I have been informed that I have just give welcoming speech. That's why I have to shorten my my talk now, my paper now. I am really honored to present some notes on Islam and environment on this prestigious event, the 7th International Colloquium on Interdisciplinary Islamic Studies, where some scholars, experts, activists discuss very important issues we are facing now, the climate change, the environmental issues, and how religion, and more specifically, the believers can contribute to this issue. I believe all participants of this symposium will take benefits from this program. In this occasion, I will not talk about the religion, how the religions of Islam, the teaching of Islam on environment. Instead, I will highlight in one important issue, that is the fatwa of Indonesian Council of Ulama on the climate change. On November 2023, the Council of Indonesian Ulama issued fatwa number 86 year 2023 on the law of controlling global climate change. It is in its consideration, the fatwa mentioned that humans are currently facing global climate change disaster, and therefore collaboration and participation of all human beings are needed. Moreover, the fatwa recognized that the root of this climate crisis is interrelation of all aspects of human life, including economic, social, political, and cultural factors, including also belief system. After this consideration, the Council of Indonesian Ulama decided the laws of the as follow. All action that cause damage to nature and have an impact on climate crisis are haram, unlawful. And the second, uncontrolled deforestation and forest burning that destroys natural ecosystem, causing massive release of greenhouse gases, as well as reducing the Earth's ability to absorb and store carbon, is also haram. In addition to this law, the fatwa also forced all parties to contribute, including us, of course, as religious leaders and educators, to contribute to better mitigation and adaptation efforts regarding climate change, and reduce carbon footprint, which is not a basic need, and to carry out effort for just energy transition. Even though the fatwa is only religious opinion given by religious scholars and religious institutions, the fatwa has played very important roles in Muslim society. Despite it is not binding, Muslims usually refer to fatwa when they want to do new action. Knowing this, the government frequently asks fatwa from certain religious scholars of our institution in order to support government programs. We remember, for instance, the Indonesian government asked Majlis Ulama Indonesia to issue fatwa on the family planning program in 1980s, when the government promulgated a program that controlled birth rate. The government faced harsh criticism, resistances, and opposition from Muslims. Only after getting this fatwa did the government succeed in its program on the family planning. I can mention here that the previous fatwa, the fatwa of law of controlling the global climate change, is progressive fatwa. This fatwa is very relevant to current challenge and threats faced by human beings. The fatwa is progressive because it deals with non-religious issues, but substantial to preserve the earth, our planet, on which all human beings live. Thus, the fatwa will protect the life of human beings. The fatwa has been appreciated by environmental activists regardless their religious affiliation. By issuing this fatwa, MUI has proven that religion exists to save the earth, to save the life of human beings. The question is then, what can we do to protect and to preserve the environment? We have been guided by the fatwa of MUI to participate in the action. Also, there is survey conducted by PPM, Pusat Pengkajian Islam and Masyarakat, on the perception of public perception on religion and environment. Then, before I end my welcoming speech, I would like to say that the previous fatwa is call for everybody to act. It is time to preserve the environment, to protect the earth, to save our lives, the lives of the children, and the life of our grandchildren. I thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. What? Okay. I'm asked to officially open this colloquium by reciting Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I would like to officially open this colloquium, the 7th International Colloquium on Interdisciplinary Islamic Studies 2024. Rethinking Interdisciplinary Islamic Studies for Sustainable Development in Digital Era. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Kepada Bapak kami ucapkan terima kasih. Selanjutnya penandatanganan MOU antara UIN Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta dan IAIN Manado. Rektor UIN Syarif Hidayatullah yang diwakili oleh Wakil Rektor 4 Bapak Din Walid PhD dan Rektor Institut Agama Islam Negeri IAIN Manado yang diwakili oleh Wakil Rektor 2 Dr. Haja Salma MHI yang didampingi oleh Wakil Rektor 1 Dr. Edi Gunawan MHI.
Habis ini baru doa diganti.
Doa diganti dari nama.
Doa diganti. Diganti apa?
Muhammad. Dr. Muhammad Imran.
Dr. Muhammad Imran.
LCMTHI.
Dr. Muhammad Imran LCMHMTHI.
Dr. Muhammad Imran. Habis ini kan?
Masih ada. Sudah. Dr. Muhammad Imran LCMTHI. Sudah LCMTHI ya.
Jadi ini duduk kan mau berdiri? Duduk atau berdiri? Kan berdiri aja, oke. Sebelum doa.
Masih ada pasca lagi.
Ya.
Dilanjutkan dengan penandatanganan perjanjian kerjasama antara Sekolah Pasca Sarjana UIN Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta dengan Pasca Sarjana IAIN Manado. Diundang Direktur Sekolah Pasca Sarjana Universitas Islam Negeri Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta dengan Direktur Pasca Sarjana Institut Agama Islam Negeri IAIN Manado.
Sekarang udah? Habis ini ya? Habis ini doa ya? Dr. Muhammad Imran LC MTHR. Kalau di Malaysia I itu I, I itu E. Kamu ya? Apa? Assalamualaikum. Habis apa? Nanti kamu apa?
sama Basudara habis Alfa bilang tolong sama Basudara baru
Wassalamualaikum. Sekalian. Wassalamualaikum. Okay. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay. Kemudian
البرنامج الآخر قبل أن نختم هذا البرنامج هيا ندعو جماعة الذي سيقوم بقراءة الدعاء من السماحة الأستاذ الدكتور محمد إمران الماجستير فعليه أن يتفضل مشكورا ومأجورا.
Before we end our session, let us submit to a prayer recitation by Dr. Muhammad Imran, LC.MTHI.
Sebelum kita menutup agenda acara pembukaan pada sore hari ini, marilah kita berdoa yang akan dituntun oleh Dr. Muhammad Imran, LC.MTHI.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ismahli an aquma bain hadaratikum jami'an li an aqra du'a rajian ila rabbina subhanahu wa ta'ala ay wafiqana jami'an bima yuhibbullahu wa yardah wa yubarik lana fi liqa'ina hadhihi wa fi hadha al-mu'tamar ad-dawli. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hamdan syakirin, hamdan na'imin, hamdan yuwafi ni'amahu wa yukafi'u mazidah. Ya Rabbana lakal hamdu kama yanbaghi li jalali wajhikal karim wa 'azimi sultanik. Allahumma anfa'na bima 'allamtana wa 'allimna ma yanfa'una warzuqna 'uluman tanfa'una fi dinina wa dunyana wa akhiratina bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin. Allahumma ij'al khair umrina akhirahu wa khair a'malina khawatimuh wa khair ayyamina yawma nalqaka fih. Allahumma inna nas'aluka khairal mas'alati wa khairal du'a wa khairal ilmi wa khairal amal wa khairal najah wa khairal hayati wa khairal mamati wa thabbitna wa thaqqil mawazinana wa haqqiq imanana warfa' darajatana wa taqabbal salatana waghfir khati'atina wa nas'aluka al-'ula minal jannah. Allahumma inna nas'aluka minal khairi kullihi ajilihi wa ajilihi ma na'lamu minhu wa ma lam na'lam. Allahumma inna nas'aluka minal 'amali kullihi ma na'lamu minhu wa ma lam na'lam. Allahumma inna nas'aluka al-jannata wa ma qarraba ilaiha min aqwalina wa af'alina wa na'udzu bika minan nari ma qarraba ilaiha min af'alina wa aqwalina. Allahumma inna nas'aluka ma salaka abduka wa rasuluka Muhammadin sallallahu alaihi wasallam wa na'udzu bika mimma ista'adza bihi nabiyyuka wa rasuluka Muhammadin sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azaban nar. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Kepada Bapak kami ucapkan terima kasih.
Al-hadirun al-mahbubun, nantahi hazihi silsilatil barnamij minal jamiatil islamiyatil hukumiyah Jakarta wal jamiatil islamiyatil hukumiyah Manado bikudumikum ila hazal makan al-mubarak. Ana Siti Fauzia Daeng,
Nur Syakirah binti Muhammad Adnan from UIN Jakarta.
Saya Muhammad Alfaris Kimo Kebombang. Sekian dari kami, Pakatiti Tupuhuma Pakananung Mangenang boleh balang sengkaindo pakatuan wa pakalawiren kita ruaya moto tabian moto tanoban bo moto tempian syukur muanto torang semua basudara. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Sebelumnya diundang kepada para pimpinan untuk safot bersama. Dipersilakan kepada para pimpinan serta para panel speaker yang hadir pada sore hari ini untuk bisa mengambil tempat. Angkat itu ini,
semuanya jelas foto-foto.
Diundang para panel speaker di sore hari ini untuk bisa mengambil tempat.
Ya. Kita.
Nanti setelah itu Pak.
Sekalian. Sekalian aja.
Oke, 1, 2.
Masyarakat moderator langsung masuk acara kami serahkan ke moderator. Langsung saja acara diserahkan.
Baik, terima kasih. Selanjutnya acara kami serahkan kepada moderator yang akan bertanggung jawab dalam jalannya acara pada sore hari ini. Sekian.
Baik. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dear respected participant for the ICIIS International Colloquium on Interdisciplinary Islamic Studies, since we are little bit behind the schedule, because actually we have to start our first plenary session at 4:10, and now it's already 4:45. So I'm really sorry, we have to start the first plenary session as soon as possible. So, welcome to our first plenary session entitled Media Localizing Islam and Living Literature for Sustainable Development. Actually, we have 5 speakers for this first plenary session, but the first 2 speakers have presented their paper during the opening ceremony, which are Professor Asep Saifuddin Jahar, MA, and Professor Dr. Ahmad Rajavi, MA. So now we are left with 2 other speakers who are already in online meeting. First of all, I would like to welcome Professor Dr. Mikihiro Moriyama. Okay, thank you very much, Professor Mikihiro Moriyama, for your attendance, and we are really sorry because we are behind the schedule. Professor Mikihiro Moriyama will present a paper, the first one, and the second one will be Professor Dr. Arndt Graf, yeah, from Goethe-Universität. So I will read his curriculum vitae. Professor Mikihiro Moriyama is a professor in the Department of Global Liberal Studies, Faculty of Global Liberal Studies, Nanzan University, Japan. And he is Professor of Indonesian Studies. Yeah. His educational background, he got his PhD from Leiden University, the Netherlands, and his MA and BA from Osaka University of Foreign Studies in Japan. Currently, he is a professor in the Department of Global Liberal Studies, Faculty of Global Liberal Studies, Nanzan University. I would like to inform you about his language proficiency, because I think this is important for us. So even though he is Japanese, but he speak, read, and write in Indonesian also, and in English, and in Sundanese. Jadi Profesor Miki itu bisa berbahasa Sunda, berbahasa Indonesia, dan tentu saja bahasa Inggris dan bahasa Jepang, ya. He can read Arabic and Japanese script, and speaking and read in Dutch. He has many publications related to this issue, but I will not prolong my introduction. I would like to invite Professor Mikihiro Moriyama to present his paper in relation to media localizing Islam and living literature for sustainable development. Your time is 20 minutes. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for wonderful introduction. I would like to thank you for invitation in this wonderful international conference in Manado. I'm very sorry I can't come to Manado today. I try to do my best with this online presentation. May I share my PowerPoint slide? ladies and gentlemen, can you see this slide?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir, we can, sir.
Can you see that?
Yes, clearly.
Okay, fine. I will start this. So my topic today is inter-religious dialogue and harmony and Japanese values and sustainable development, as you see in my title page. And I would like to thank you and for this invitation, especially for IAIN Manado and Professor Dr. Ahmad Najafi, MIE, Bapak Rektor IAIN Manado. And also thank you for UIN Syarif Hidayatullah Jakarta and Bapak Rektor. Dan juga tadi membuka acara ini, I switched the language. Professor Dr. Zulkifli, Director of the Graduate School of UIN Syarif Hidayatullah. And also I thank you to Professor J.M. Muslimin, PhD. My humble talk today is actually inspired by my experience for 40 years, which I did since 1980s up to today. I did my research in Indonesia, also in the Netherlands, and also in Japan about Indonesia, especially literature and consciousness and West Java and cultural studies, and also about Islam. And I'm so sorry I can't come to Manado. Actually, I want to come, but today I have many duties as a dean and this my university. So shall we start? I will talk about religion in Japan. And if you ask somebody in Japan, what is your religion? The state of religion in Japan is somehow ambiguous. And many Japanese individuals display a perplexed and embarrassed face. Some may assert that they adhere to no particular religion. Conversely, a considerable number of individuals would indicate that they adhere to Christianity or Islam. The majority of Japan's population follows Shinto belief, with 83.9 million people identified as believers, according to the most recent statistic data. Buddhism ranks at the second most practiced religion, with 70.7 million believers across the country. It is curious to note that total number of religious believers in Japan exceeds the total population of the country, which stands at 124 million. This is very strange. This paper aims to elucidate the ambiguity of religion in Japan, including the discrepancy of the figures, and to investigate Japanese values and the pursuit of sustainable development in terms of inter-religious dialogue and harmony. Today's topic is first, the syncretism of religion in Japan. Second, over-conformity in society and its influence on the nation's development. Third, the sustainable development of Toyota Motor, an illustration of economic growth, if I have time, and then concluding remarks. Shall we start? The first. I was born in a small village situated to the north of Kyoto Prefecture, approximately 80 kilometers from the city of Kyoto. The village is located in a small valley within the city of Ayabe, approximately 20 minutes by car from the town center. A small river flows in front of my house, situated in a verdant forest. I will show you this photo. This is my family house, the left side, in this period. And this is just winter time, very thick snow, as you see. Moment. Sorry, I've lost my, okay. And perhaps cake. It's also still in the winter time, it's like this. And this is the city center of Ayabe city. The name of Moriyama family name is derived from the local topography, with Mori denote forest and Yama signifying mountain. My family was a peasant family engaged in the traditional agricultural livelihood of the region. My grandparents cultivated small rice fields, grew vegetables, and planted trees for the production of logs and timber. Our family has been regarded as an exemplar of traditional peasant, maintaining a sustainable way of living in a rural environment for at least 3 centuries. In particular, my grandmother taught me an appreciation for the natural world. She said, the spirit of nature is ever present and provides protection at all times. It is essential to demonstrate respect for the entity and to pray for peace and harmony within our family and that community. I subsequently developed the conviction that the water in front of my house and the woods around it were inhabited by spiritual entities. This concept may be referred to as spiritism or animism. It is believed that guardian deities can be found in every corner of the village. In accordance with the local tradition, offering of flowers are made at specific locations. This is let's say, guardian this is backward from our house. You see the small house. There we see deity. Secondly, we will examine the Shinto system and its associated spiritual activities and beliefs within the context of a traditional Japanese community, such as my own village. The residents of the village constitute a single shrine community, analog to a Christian parish, which is organized across the surroundings area. It is customary for multiple villages to be affiliated with a single shrine, with all residents regarded as the child of that shrine, or Ujiko, from the moment of birth. The Shinto system of belief has a lengthy history, during which it has undergone various transformations. In general, the populace continues to visit shrines on New Year's Day to pray for prosperity and good health in the forthcoming year, and to request the priest's intercession regarding the construction of a new house. Some individuals opt to be married according to Shinto traditions. I myself and with my wife, I did this way. The belief system is rooted in a natural world and human activities, particularly those of agricultural communities. The populace would traditionally have a variety of festivals in the autumn, celebrating the harvests of the rice and offering gratitude to the deities for their protection and benevolence. For example, dances and songs such as kabuki are performed as a gesture of gratitude. The members of my family's village community continues to show deep respect and regularly offer prayers at their shrine, Kamunami Jinja, which was constructed between the years 708 and 715. I will show you. This is our village community's shrine. This is in the woods. This is because the local population had long held the belief that the success of farming depends on the will of the deity. We can combine this idea is sustainable development. Meanwhile, the majority of urban dwellers no longer engage in this practice, which is still observed by the majority of rural communities. In general, the majority of individuals visit shrines on the occasion of the New Year only. Thirdly, an examination of the configuration of belief among the people reveals a complex interplay between Shinto and Buddhism. As previously discussed, individuals are initiated into Shinto community at birth. However, it is also observed that these same individuals adhere to Buddhist beliefs and practices, including conducting funerals for their family members. Hinayana Buddhism reached Japan from India via China and the Korean Peninsula in the 6th century. In addition to its role in religious practice, Buddhism has also had a significant impact on Japanese politics. In certain instances, monks were in a position of political authority, presiding over the nation, either independently or in conjunction with the samurai class in a manner analogous to Shintoism. Buddhism has sustained the presence of a local temple at the village level within each community. My family's village community has preserved Nichienji Temple, constructed in the 11th century as a place of worship. This is the Nichienji Temple. The local population exposes the tenets of both Buddhism and Shintoism. This appears to be an anomalous, strange practice of belief, given that the rituals of both Shintoism and Buddhism are held together without any contradiction. An individual may be counted as a believer in both Shintoism and Buddhism simultaneously. This is the reason why the number of believers exceeds the total population of Japan. Now you know the secret. One might posit that this represents a form of syncretism in accordance with Buddhism tradition. The deceased are honored and commemorated in family graves on 2 occasions each year, Additionally, ancestors are honored by presenting offerings at the home altar. In general, the Buddhist altar is located on the left-hand side of the room, while the Shinto altar is situated on the right hand. I will show you, this is my house, in the village house. And the left-hand side is Buddhism, right-hand side is Shintoism. The photos is my grandfather and grandmother and my father. You can see this. If you come to my house, you can see. And one of my friends from Malaysia and Indonesia, and little bit confused because two, religions is one room. When I come to my house, this room we do not use. And this is only for the purpose for the pray. Every morning, my mother presents offering to the deities of Shintoism, including a glass of water, and to the ancestors of the Buddhist altar, comprising a cup of tea and rice. The inhabitants of my village engage in these practices without perceiving them as contradictory. It is also pertinent to consider the role of Confucianism in the East Asia. This teaching was introduced to Japan from China in the 5th century. It can be argued that this is not a religion in a conventional sense, but rather a system of thought and philosophy that emphasizes moral teaching, including respect for elders and self-control, in accordance with the ethical norms prescribed by its teachings. It has consistently exerted its influence on peoples throughout history. For example, the Edo period before Meiji Restoration saw a notable surge in the study of Confucianism, which was subsequently integrated in the westernized national education system by the Meiji government in the late 19th century. It can be argued that a form of syncretic practice whereby religion and belief are combined constitute the foundation of a religious identity of the Japanese. To be more precise, animism, Shintoism, Buddhism, and Confucianism are intrinsic to the Japanese spirituality and way of life, and form a distinct system of beliefs that differs from those of Islam and Christianity. The now conformity in society and its influence on the nation's development. Following the conclusion of the Tokugawa administration's policy of seclusion, sakoku, Japan initiated a process of modernization that entailed the adoption of Western-style nation-building principles, known as the Meiji Restoration of 1868. The new policy was initiated by the recently established Meiji government, which was primarily composed of modern landlords, Han, such as Satsuma and Choshu. The unification of the nation was a prerequisite for the modernization of the feudal state. The government introduced a new policy concerning religion. The radical transformation was instigated with the objective of uniting the populace under the aegis of the emperor's authority. The Pope race was traditionally affiliated with a local shrine. We saw this in my village, right? However, all shrines throughout the country were unified into a singular hierarchical structure with Ise shrine at its pinnacle. Top is the Ise shrine. The deity of the Ise shrine was regarded as the ancestor of the emperor. So the Meiji emperor occupied the pinnacle of the hierarchy, and the Japanese government manipulated the belief system for political purposes, using it to unify the populace and later to justify expansionism. It can be argued that the beliefs of the general public have been exploited for military objectives since the beginning of the 20th century. This system of spiritual affiliation proved an effective unifying force for the populace. Consequently, Shintoism was established as an ideological foundation for the modernizing state, while Buddhism was temporarily marginalized for political expediencies. Okay. Transformations of people's consciousness. The process of formation of modern nation states has transformed the way people live and think, particularly towards a type of excessive conformity. I quote from Yasumaru. The transformation of people's consciousness effectively supported the industrialization and militarization of the new state. In 1894, Japan emerged victorious against Russia, and in 1994, it vanquished the Qing dynasty of China. It is thought that Japan was able to modernize relatively quickly, in part due to the extent of conformity among the population. The success of modernization resulted in the nation's expansionism and militarism up until the end of Second World War. Then people's allergic reaction to the region. There has been a notable increase in the number of individuals displaying allergic reaction to religious beliefs, particularly in relation to Shintoism, because the government abused, exploited the belief. This phenomenon has been observed particularly in Shintoism. However, the ideology of militarism related to religion was abandoned, and the sudden introduction of American-style democracy was enforced as a new ideology immediately in the wake of the concluded war. The Japanese people are inclined to maintain a certain distance from religion. Indeed, the teaching of any religion in public school is prohibited by law after 1945. These attitudes remain evident in contemporary Japanese society. However, the mode of excessive conformity exhibited by the people has been manifested in a distinct manner during the period of reconstruction following the devastation of the nation as a consequence of the defeat in the Second World War. At that time, the primary objective of the nation was economic development. The impoverished population of Japan demonstrated resilience in their efforts to rebuild the nation. The value placed on social cohesion and collective harmony was a salient aspect, remarkable aspect of Japanese society and communities during that period. The aforementioned phenomena of over-conformity manifested in a distinct manner not only during the era of modernization and militarism, but also during the nation's rebuilding phase. The population has been engaged in the nation's development through various roles. It appears the ethos of post-war era was characterized by a focus on hard work and pursuit of material well-being, with spiritual values often perceived as secondary. As a consequence of the reconstruction efforts, Japan has experienced notable degree of economic growth in a relatively short period of time, as you know. The next section is about the example of the Toyota Motor. I'm afraid I have still time or not. I have still perhaps 5 or 10 minutes.
You still have 5 more minutes? 5?
5 minutes?
Yeah, please.
Okay. Okay, about Toyota Motors. The Toyota Motor Corporation was established in August 1933 in the vicinity of Nagoya, this area, you know. The company was initially established as a weaving machine manufacturer in 1907 by Sakichi Toyoda. In 1937, Kiichiro Toyoda, as the son of Sakichi Toyoda, established a car factory within the weaving machine company. This marked the beginning of the company's transition from manufacturing weaving machines to producing automobiles. It is reasonable to suggest that the company played a pivotal role in driving the country's economic growth and development throughout the 20th century. Since its inception, the company has consistently demonstrated a capacity for sustainable development, exemplified by the implementation of innovative systems such as Kaizen system, just-in-time, and the Kanban system as production strategy within the industrial sector. It is fascinating. This is a Toyota. It is fascinating to explore the 5 main principles of Toyota and how they reflected the intersection of spirituality and economic development since the late 19th century. These principles were first released on October 1935, marking the 5th anniversary of Sakichi Toyoda's death. Subsequently, the 5 core principles of the Toyota philosophy have been disseminated throughout the Toyota Group, serving as a moral compass for all employees. You will see the 5 principles. It is noteworthy that the 5th principle, this pertains to the respect and gratitude owed to spiritual matters by the employee. The Japanese text literally translates to respect Shinto and Buddhist deities, rather than simply spiritual matters. It is worthy to note that foundation of the economy made reference to Shintoist and Buddhist deity during the period of modernization and Europeanization of the state, which occurred during the Meiji period. Additionally, the founder did not neglect to include industrial patriotism or the service of one's country through industry in the initial principle, the first one you will see. As previously discussed, the prevailing mode of overconformity among the populace was manifested in their religious inclinations. It is noteworthy that company has consistently endeavored to uphold the original principles, ensuring the continuous reverence for Shintoism and Buddhist deities, even in the face of the growing societal tendency to avoid religious affiliation in the post-war era. One could argue that one of Japan's most successful motor companies has consistently demonstrated an awareness of the role of religion and spirituality in facilitating sustainable development. This is concluding remarks. It can be said that the majority of Japanese people, especially those living in urban areas, are generally not affiliated with any particular religion. Religious practices are absent from their daily lives. Nevertheless, they are not atheists, as they adhere to the beliefs in the existence of a supreme being, known as Kami in Japanese. In the event of natural disaster, such as earthquake, Gunpa Bumi, tsunami, the Japanese people pray for God, Kami, for assistance. As evidenced by the case of Toyota Motor Corporation, spirituality is a concept that is held in high regard by the Japanese people, despite the fact that the specific mode of belief may differ from that of other religions in the world. However, it cannot be overlooked a recent tendency of the people's indifference about religion and spirituality. It is noteworthy that they display a striking tendency towards conformity and the pursuit of harmonious living in their daily lives. In certain instances, the conformity is so pervasive that it effectively suppresses individual autonomy and conduct. These values have played a crucial role in shaping the country's path of development. Thank you dan terima kasih. Saya selesai. Sekian, terima kasih.
Thank you very much, Professor Miki, for your comprehensive exploration on the religious belief in Japan and how historically religion, either Shinto, Buddhism, Confucianism, have been manipulated by the Japanese government for the political purpose. And finally, your presentation on the 5 principles of Toyota Motor, which influence the Japanese society. I hope you are still with us because later maybe there are some questions from the participants. But I would like to give the second presentation to our second speakers, Professor Dr. Arndt Graf. He is the professor in the Department of Southeast Asian Studies, Goethe-Universität, Frankfurt. Unfortunately, he cannot come on site, but he will give his presentation through video. The same like Professor Miki, he has comprehensive language skills, Malay, Indonesian, French, German, and also English and Japanese too, yeah, because he is the professor in Austronesian languages and culture, and also Southeast Asian studies. So I see that Professor Graf would like to present his paper, and he will not present online, but he give the video presentation. Is that right, Pak Ketua? Yes. So he already recorded his presentation in video. So we will, yeah. So he will share with us his ideas about religion in Germany in comparison to Indonesia. Silakan, Pak Dwi. And later, after his presentation, after Professor Graf's presentation, we will open question and answer. So please write down your question for Professor Miki later after the presentation of Professor Graf. I think the video is around 15 minutes.
So hello everybody. Thank you very much for this invitation to this international colloquium. It's my great honor and pleasure. I have prepared a little bit of a PowerPoint. Let's see whether I can find it. Here we go. Here it is. Slideshow, okay, here it is. So I hope you can see it. My topic today is an exploratory topic. It's about religious moderation in Indonesia and Germany, a comparison. The reason for this is because we had stunning pictures from Jakarta this week, last week, about symbols of religious moderation in Indonesia. Pope Francis and the Grand Imam Nasiruddin Umar were quite friendly with each other, and so were the religious communities as a symbol of successful religious moderation. And coming from Germany, we are in the middle of state elections, and there were EU elections earlier this year. And as you see on the right, the result is that a far-right, extremist, Islamophobic party won a relative majority in all East German states. It's the former GDR, the former East Germany. So the question is whether we can use this bad news from Germany in order to somehow understand a little bit better why religious moderation is so successful in Indonesia. So let me see whether I can get forward. Yes. So I have these two observations as a foundation for the talk. So it's an important theme, not only this encounter at the Istiqlal Mosque in Jakarta, but also, of course, the Vice President of Indonesia, Minister of Religious Affairs, the entire Minister of Religious Affairs, they're all engaged in this moderasi beragama theme, and for quite some time. So this is an observation that I think everybody can share here. The second is that this very strange success of a right-wing extremist, xenophobic, Islamophobic party, the AfD, in East Germany. What's the reason? In contrast, it's not the whole of Germany, so we cannot essentialize Germans are all anti-foreigners. In contrast, you have in West Germany a Christian, democratic or Christian social union, meaning a religious party, leading, and not the right-wing extremists. So there's something going on in the difference between the two parts of Germany. So the research question one is, can the difference between the two parts of Germany help to understand the state of religious moderation in Indonesia today? And I'm focusing here in this limited time only on the role of the economy and the role of religion in society. I know there are many, many more possible research questions. I'm taking as a justification for the choice of the two countries. It's the largest Muslim population in each continent. Each world region. So Indonesia is the country with the largest Muslim population in Southeast Asia. Of course, the number is much bigger than the one in Germany. We have maybe 246 million people, if I calculate right the data from the CIA World Factbook. And Germany is the country with the largest Muslim population in Europe, although it's a minority in the country. Still, it's the country with the largest Muslim population on this continent, with about 3.1 million people who are Muslims. So the limitation is quite obvious. It's only if I talk for 50 minutes. It's a very complex topic. However, it's an invitation. Maybe we can think of an international research consortium on the theme of moderasi beragama, which is moderation. So let's see. We have first the economic side. On the left, you see the election results, 2024. On the right side, you see a map of the both parts of Germany in 1997. And there you see that this former East Germany is dark red. That means that the rate of unemployment there was staggering high. This is a consequence of the reunification. The East German economy was not competitive. The former markets of the East German companies in Eastern Europe, Soviet Union and so on, were no longer there. And they were not competitive enough to compete with the rest of the world and the rest of the other German companies. So unemployment, and as a consequence, migration of young, talented people to other parts of the country, the western parts of the country, and the southern parts. As you can see, unemployment is very low there. And so you have an economic crisis in East Germany with long-term social and psychological consequences. I think that's something to see, maybe to understand why we have today this high rate of xenophobic attitudes in this part of the world. So economic reasons, social reasons seem to be quite interesting, quite important. And now let's go to Indonesia in comparison. There is a interesting development over the course of the last at least 30 years. The HDI ranking per province goes back to 1990, from 1990 to basically now, 2019, shortly before the COVID crisis happened. And you see that in every province of Indonesia, there is a gradual improvement. The economy is getting better and better and better, and the living conditions are getting better. Life expectancy is getting better. The schooling education situation is getting better, because what we have here is the Human Development Index ranking of the United Nations Development Program. It's a composite index that looks at income, at education, and life expectancy. And life expectancy reflects healthcare, reflects nutrition, you name it. Pollution, people die early, there's a lot of pollution. But apparently there's living conditions in Indonesia over the course of the least 30 years, as far as these numbers are concerned, has been improving in every province. You can look at provinces that are very dark green, like Jakarta or Yogyakarta. They are in the group of very highly developed, very high development, human development. That means they are basically the same as same level as in South Korea or in Japan or in Australia or in America or in Western Europe. And then you have other parts that have a history of where 30 years ago it was very not so good in terms of status development, but also in these parts of the country you see an improvement, including also, for instance, if you look at Maluku and Papua, they are a little bit behind historically, also parts of Sulawesi, but they have been improving. West Nusa Tenggara, they have been improving. So if this continues, that means that could be a factor that openness is increasing and religious moderation is increasing all over Indonesia. I would explain why in 2024 there is this great openness in Indonesia, maybe in comparison to 30 years ago, early 2000s, there was some civil unrest in Indonesia, and also in comparison, say, to East Germany today. So that's an interesting development there. Could be one factor. It's the successful economic development over the course of the last at least 30 years. Now, if you go into the library, we find a lot of books about fundamentalism. And one school of research comes from the Chicago Fundamentalism Project. It's a discipline of sociology of religion. Have numerous publications to understand the phenomenon of fundamentalism in the 1990s, 2000s, but also taking into account fundamentalism in America, where the term comes from the 19th century. Initially, it's a Christian phenomenon of fundamentalism. Look at that. So, among these positions is that soothing seems to be a key psychological and social function of religion. This is particularly in demand in times of crisis, personal crisis, health, if you have a health problem, cancer or something, if you're facing death, people tend to get more religious. If there's a social crisis, unemployment, if there's an economic crisis, financial crisis, if there's a political crisis, natural catastrophes like a tsunami or this year, for instance, the terrible drought and heat. So these are times of crisis, and this school of sociology of religion from Chicago would think if the crisis increases, the demand for religion increases. So historically, the observation is during the war, for instance, in Germany, the churches were full. After the war in West Germany, they emptied out. The reason is because the crisis of the war was over. And so, in this perspective, the rise of extremism and fundamentalism is an indicator of psychological, personal, social, economic, political, environmental crisis. And so what we can do as observers, what politicians can do is trying to, if they want to combat a crisis, yes, improve the economy, and secondly, trying to get over these social crises. And one way is that strengthen religious institutions, because religious institutions, movements, can have a stabilizing role for society and country. And so maybe this is interesting for you here, for this international colloquium on international Islamic studies. Besides the theological importance, religious discourse, religious institutions, you can have a stabilizing role for the society and the country, particularly in times of crisis. We all experienced the COVID crisis, demand, interest in religious topics increased. We have in the moment several other crises happening, so this talks about the social relevance of religious institutions. Now, why do I come with this kind of theoretical approach? Because we have another map from East Germany. Here's East Germany on the very right today. You see the election results again. In the middle, you see also East Germany. Here the color is green, but it's East Germany. And it says religion. What kind of religion do people have in Germany? The map says in East Germany, the absolute majority is neither Catholic nor Protestant nor Muslim. The absolute majority in East Germany has no religion. This is the result of the communist regime since 1945. If you look to the very left, there is a map of the census of 1925. You can imagine where East Germany is. The future East Germany there is in the middle of the country. And they were Protestant, largely Protestant. So something happened between 25 and 2022 to the census. That means that people lost their religion. And one aspect is, strangely, after they lost their religion, say in times of crisis, economic crisis, social crisis, migration crisis, the result is not going to the churches anymore or to religious institutions. The result is going to go to extremist positions, like political positions in the right. So let's have a little bit of a look there. The comparison, the role of religion in East and West Germany. On the left, you see a picture of the wall as it separated Berlin and the entire country until 1989, 1990. So religious communities were repressed. That means they were not free to act, and also their property was taken. Then there was a strict separation of state and religion, no support at all for religious communities, and instead the state tried to replace the religious ceremonies, for instance, and rituals, with ideological rituals of the communist regime. So after the communist regime collapsed, there was nothing where people could get a hold in terms of social psychological crisis. So maybe this explains a little bit why we had these disturbing election results. In comparison, in the Federal Republic of Germany, which is the West, today the country, it's still called this way, but this is historically the West, the leading party for the last 70 years mostly was the CDU-CSU, and that is inspired by religion. In this case, Christianity, but they also have an open heart for Islam and Judaism. So that means that there was, from the constitution, a strong support for churches and for religious communities as schools and universities. Financial support for the religious communities with various ways of support. So then you have from the 1960s onward an immigration of about 2 million Muslims from Turkey, which after some decades led to the realization these people also have a religion, have a faith. And so now the Islamic theology has been established at state universities with taxpayers' money. So this is no longer the old Orientalist Islamic studies that used to be there from an outsider's perspective. Now it's Muslims who are doing Islamic theology at several universities. In Frankfurt, for instance, where I teach at the University of Münster, at the University of Osnabrück, in Tübingen, and in Erlangen-Nuremberg. If you look at the states, these are all West German states. No East German states has such a center of Islamic theology. You have now, since 2015, 1 million Syrian refugees, mostly Muslim, and since 2022, 1 million Ukrainian refugees, mostly Orthodox. So this influx of a huge number of refugees in the last years led, of course, to a crisis in terms of you have to care for all of these people. You have to give them food, have to give them language training, have to try to find jobs for them. And you would think that in times of, in a part of the country that has religious institutions that are strong, there's more resilience than in the part of the country that doesn't have that. So I would think the reason why the election and anti-immigration kind of party in the East is that they don't have this network of resilience. So that is something maybe that we can use in order to look at the situation in Indonesia. The strong showing of religious moderation in Indonesia is also due to you, the Ministry of Religious Affairs and this family of UIN, ICIIS, Stein, all over Indonesia. Plus you have the role of moderate religious movements such as Nahdlatul Ulama and Muhammadiyah, who are all parts of a kind of a, let's call it, political science regime coalition that support this religious moderation, moderasi beragama. So that, I think, is a very strong factor, besides the economic factor, why we have this state of openness and religious moderation in Indonesia that we saw in the beginning. So as a conclusion, maybe we can say that if you look at factors for religious moderation in Indonesia and West Germany together, there's a similarity. There's a positive economic development over the course of the last decades. There's a state support for the role of religion in society, for instance, through state universities. Universitas Islam Negeri is a state university. And there's the role of moderate religious communities and movements. While you have, on the other hand, in East Germany and maybe in certain parts of crisis in Indonesia and other parts of the world, factors for xenophobia and Islamophobia would be an experience of economic collapse, social crisis. Then you have the repression of religion because of communism. These destroyed orientational networks and frameworks necessary in times of crisis. And in some parts of East Germany now 90% of the population are without a religion, and that means they're an easy prey for extremist propaganda. I think this could be some beginning of a research collaboration on these topics. With this, I would like to thank you very much again, and I wish you a very good and successful conference.
Let's give big applause to Professor Graf for his presentation on the comparison between Indonesia and Germany, West and East Germany. As you can see, the difference between East and West in relation to religion and to the economic development in these two parts of Germany. But since Professor Graf gave his presentation through video, it means that we cannot have question and answer for this occasion, for this plenary session. But we still have Professor Mikihiro, who is still with us. So if you have any question related to the presentation of Professor Mikihiro during his presentation on the role of religion, what is the Japanese government, Japanese society see about the religion, and the role of the Toyota motor, to the spirituality of the community. Silakan. Komentar, pertanyaan. Diawali from Professor J.M. Muslimin, who will start the question for Professor Miki. Silakan, Prof. Okay, please. Please introduce yourself. Okay, please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Sorry, my name is Natsuki Chubachi. I'm a PhD candidate in Goethe-Universität, Japan. I'm doing research in Indonesia about Islam and the environment. Dr. Moriyama, thank you for the presentation. I understand the Buddhism and the Shintoism is still important in the Japanese society and the Toyota. Let me ask you a simple question. Does the Shinto ethics or Buddhism ethics have influence on the environment or the climate change issue? Because it is the conference about sustainability and the main focus is on the environment. So I'd like to ask, how do ethics of the religion in Japan do some, play a role in the Toyota or the Japanese company? Thank you so much.
Okay, we will collect the question, Prof. Mikiyama, yeah? So, as you can see, there's someone in the Zoom who also posed question for you. The next one, please, Prof. Okay. The second is from Professor J. Muslimin.
Yes, okay, thank you very much. Welcome, and it is really inspiring speech. What I want to know further is what you call it as the manipulation of religion for the sake of authority, especially by Japanese governments. Could you please explore further? It was real, or maybe it was just like what we call it as politicization of religion. Politicization of religion. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Prof. J. Another question? Silakan. Okay. Please introduce yourself.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
I am Hendrik, the student of Postgraduate School of UIN Jakarta. Dear Prof. Mikihiro, thank you very much for your very nice presentation. I give you very high appreciation. I have some simple questions for you. I heard from your presentation, you mentioned about the people who are allergic to the religions. I would like to get more from you about the concept behind of them. The concept about the religion of the agnostic or from the majority people there who are not afflicted to the religion. And the second one, about the religious moderation. Do you have in Japan this idea about religious moderation? If you have, share with us here. Probably we could learn more from you about how you apply this idea there. And the third one, I am Hendrik, the Catholic priest. I'm learning in UIN Jakarta now. And I have some friends there working with you in Nanzan University. They are Catholic missionary in theology, faculty, and philosophy. I heard from them that some of them teach the religion to the agnostic students. Is it the good way for the Japanese there or not? I want to hear more from you. Thank you very much.
Okay, I hope you still can manage to have another question from the participant. Please, Pak Fuad.
Assalamualaikum, I'm Fuad from UIN Jakarta. Short question, whether the acceptance of Muhammadiyah and NU to exploit tambang mining, could it be seen as a way to manipulate religion as experienced by the Japanese society in the past? Thank you.
If you need more elaboration about the question, please. Ada lagi? Okay, maybe that is the first term for the question, and please, Professor Moriyama, to respond to this question.
Thank you for all of you, and I got wonderful questions. I tried to answer one by one, and first. Yes. Yeah, and I forgot your name is once you studied in Kyoto, and you asked me about a sustainable issue and with ethics and religion in Japan, Shinto and Buddhism, how the religious practice and or beliefs is related with environmental issues. I think as I mentioned in my presentation, Shintoism is closely related with nature, and also they respect deity who protect harvest of rice and vegetables and natural resources. So they think that according to Shintoism, we may not avoid or may not, we have to respect the deity, and also we have to protect nature. because nature is the resource of our living. And there we see the deity that's in their ideas. So that is very close related. So Buddhism is also, and usually they have the place in the forest. They have the temples, a deep forest. They have let's say, Bertapa, it's kind of the practice in the deep forest and preserve nature. They cannot separate it from the nature. So in the bottom of their beliefs, these religions in Japan, let's say Shintoism and Buddhism, is closely related with environmental issue. That's why I guess that is, I cannot show you the evidence. People have the respect for the nature in their heart. If you have the spirituality or you have religious mind, so that is the still they have. We can see the relationship between religion and sustainability and environmental issue. Second, from Professor J.M. Muslimin, what I use the term manipulation is you suggested and the politicization of religion. I think you are right. Perhaps manipulation is not proper word in this context. Perhaps I should change the word manipulation to politicization. What I wanted to say is abuse or misuse. I mean, their people's religious mind are used for different purpose. That was I meant. And mostly for the political purposes. And afterwards, and militarism and expansionism. That I wanted to say. So if politicization is perhaps that is a better word to for this abuse the religion. Third questions is about. I had 3 questions. First is allergy for religion, and I do not catch your point. I mean, your question is, I'm not so sure, but what I understood is not all of Japanese people nowadays had such feeling of allergy against religion. But right after the Second World War, Emperor and Shintoism was connected, and Shintoism was used for the different purpose. That point, people did not talk about religion. And also they say, we do not need religion. That is kind of allergy they had. Nowadays, what I presented in my paper, some parts of people, they have feeling we need religion. The different, but the basis of their feeling is different from before World War II. Actually, more individual approach of religion. So, not only for the Shintoism and the Buddhism, but we see the phenomena of new movement for religion and also spiritual activities. So, we have to see carefully the new rising of this type of phenomena. But on the other hand, people, how many I cannot say, but a part of people do not talk about religion. That we see, like Arndt, Graf discussed about the situation in Germany, and he said it's right wing, such group of the right wing in Germany, and we have such group in Japan as well. They do not talk about religion at all. And the second point is, yes, religious moderation. I'm sorry, I can't reply this point. I have to learn a little bit more in this terminology, and especially in the context of Japanese society. I'm sorry, I have to skip this. And you said in our university, Nanzan University is Catholic university. You are right. And we have I have colleagues from Ende from Flores. We have Romo from the Flores, and also fratres and paters from Ende, because our university is Catholic and SVD. So these paters teach not only Catholic, but in general about religion to our students. Students learn that not only religion, but in a broader sense of spirituality, and also human dignity. Human dignity is the motto of our university. So paters and Romos teach about human dignities and also spirituality and also history of religion, many religions. I mean, Judaism and Islam, and also we have the Muslim professors. So they teach also in many variety of religious thinking and history of religion. So that is no contradiction, our university. Our university is a private university. We may enroll in the constitution and also from the Ministry of Education, we may teach about religion. But as I said in my presentation, private junior high school and high school, SMP and SMA, may not teach religion by law. And last question is Bapak Fuad from Win Jakarta, and I'm sorry I can't catch the question. The Muhammadiyah and NU, I know Muhammadiyah and NU in Indonesia, and how to connect the word manipulation. And I do not catch your point, but as I said I answer the Professor Muslimin manipulation is perhaps not the right word, which I used in my presentation. Perhaps I have to think about this. And as Professor Muslimin said, the politicization is perhaps the right word to replace this word. Okay, thank you.
Actually, there is one more question in Zoom by Elma Haryani in the chat, if you can check it.
Oh.
Her question is how the Japanese people define religion instead of spirituality.
I see the question there. That is tough question. This is from Ibu Elma.
That's right.
Yes, I am Professor.
Yeah. Before I reply your question, may I ask you how to define religion instead of spirituality in Indonesia?
We define it culturally and differently. Because we have some main religions, we have 6 religions and so many other spiritual, system of beliefs here in Indonesia.
Yeah.
That's why it's not easy to define that kind of definition of religion in Indonesia.
Yeah.
But, yeah, because we have so many system of beliefs here.
Yeah. I see. I got the point. And in Indonesia, you have 5 religions officially.
6 religions. 6 religions.
6 religions officially. And then many beliefs. And that these beliefs are considered as spirituality.
Precisely. We can say so, but spirituality is something like more substance rather than more ritual or practitionism. It's just my personal opinion. I mean,
okay. Okay. Now I try to reply according to my personal opinion. Perhaps that is not a representative answer from Japanese origin. In my opinion, spirituality is inside all spiritual activities, including any religion. So if we do anything related with spiritual activity, means activity with our spirit. Our spirit is, perhaps we may call spirituality. Some religion, perhaps, that is no spirituality in religion could be, but most of religion have deep spirituality inside. This is my personal opinion, Ibu Elma.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor.
Yeah, thank you very much, Prof. Miki. I think we have to end the session because we already passed the time and it is Maghrib time in Manado. So let's give a big applause to Prof. Miki. Thank you very much for your enlightening exploration of the religious belief system in Japan. And thank you for all the participants who have participated in posing the question. And don't forget, we will have another plenary session tomorrow morning. Is that right? We will start at 8 with 3 speakers. we have Professor Ismail Latif, we have Dr. Phil Patrick, and we have Professor James Hostre tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock in this room. So we will. So we will end this first plenary session by together reciting Hamdalah. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Again, thank you very much, Prof. Moriyama, for your.
Terima kasih. Kalau ada salah ucap